what's up? I'm back. This is the SML8 podcast. I'm Jason Statham, aka Badra the Inquisitor, aka Miziosi, aka Dragon, aka Chris. Yeah, I'm back. So I had some robots talking about stuff for me because I was being lazy and assimilating, of course. That's my excuse. But yeah, you may have noticed a few podcast episodes with robots talking to one another. And that's NotebookLM, and it just exists now. I saw a news clip of sort of some normie-ish newscasters talking about NotebookLM, like MSNBC, and that's always a good sign, or a sign, depending on how you feel the ethics and morality of an AI revolution will go. But yeah, so NotebookLM is known now by normies, which is cool to me. Again, I won't say it's good or bad, I'll just say it's cool. But so yeah, that's what I've been using to have robots talk to one another. I've been getting this feeling that I don't know, it's a melancholy, mixed emotions, weird feeling in my stomach. I don't know whether I want to say the NotebookLM videos or episodes of the podcast are a good or a bad thing either. It's just I'm contributing to the new simulacrum, which is going to come. And what I mean by that is there's probably going to be just tons of these podcasts like this, like what SML8 has turned into for the past couple weeks. And I've contributed to it. I feel like it's sort of morally neutral how I feel about it. But yeah, it's just such a powerful tool that it does everything. Right? I've done a lot of projects where I'm spending hours trying to teach the robots something or get them to react in some way, and then the output is very interesting and sciencey and scientific. But with NotebookLM, it's like you just put a document in or a link to a video, a URL to a web page, a YouTube video, sound, whatever you want to put in, and it just makes a podcast out of that. And so NotebookLM is V1. It's version 1 of too many tools like it that are going to come. And so the simulacrum I'm speaking of is, I've been making a few of those NotebookLM videos, and then I'll scroll and I see someone else made a NotebookLM video, and there are varying levels of trying to pass it off as real humans, and YouTube gives you the option to say that it is generative. And so I've come across other YouTube channels and videos that have been suggested to me, and it'll be a NotebookLM podcast with those two voices. There's the masculine voice and the feminine voice, and they go back and forth, and they have the same cadence, similar, like, did you yes, look at this thing, ha ha ha, and that is quite interesting, isn't it? It piqued my interest, and blah blah blah. And there's a good bit of variance in there because it's Google, so their LLMs are doing work. They're advanced. They have a large corpus of training data, and the algorithms are top of the line. But eventually, especially with Meta's work now, with open sourcing everything, eventually that system, that capability that the whole species now has to make entire podcasts out of sort of just a seed or some little idea or concept or text or script, is going to expand. And Google will most likely expand it. You'll probably see different voices on there. I just saw like yesterday, I haven't even been able to use it yet, but yesterday I read that you can sort of interrupt the process. So like when it's just adding layers of prompting, adding layers of natural language that tells the LLM, the algorithm, what you want the output to be. So when I first started using NotebookLM, it was literally just summarizing text. Then they made it to where it could make a podcast from your text. Then they made it to where it can make your podcast from a YouTube video or a website or uploaded audio. And now, just yesterday, it made it to where you can give it the material, the source material, and then say, add additional prompts that sort of curb the focus of the podcast in whatever direction you want. And so this rate of change is remarkable. Like I said, I use NotebookLM what feels like every day, and I didn't even realize this existed. And it's like I blink or I wake up the next day and there's already a new feature. And so I imagine, there will be new voices. There will be way more customization. It'll all be natural language. And so eventually we're just going to be inundated with robot podcasts. Again, the voices will improve, which for most people, the voices right now, like I said, if you listen to MSNBC articles or listen to radio hosts talk about NotebookLM, they're like, the singularity's here. These voices it sounds so real. And it's like, if you're following the stuff, it's not insane and beyond, so incredibly real that it blows your mind. But it's very interesting and very impressive, and again, very indicative of what is going to happen in the near future. And that's just Google. So, like I said, Meta's job now is to open source everything that all the big companies do that's cool. And so you have OpenAI, you have Google, you have Microsoft, all building and making tools and making the models better at reasoning or better at whatever thing you think makes them good. And then you have Meta, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. You have them just taking those ideas and bundling them, and maybe they're 80% the efficacy, right? But you have Mark Zuckerberg open sourcing it, right? So it's like we have NotebookLM, the bones behind it will be open sourced. I want to say within a year, but that, like, every time I say within a blank, it just that gets shorter and shorter. Like I said, I blink and something new happens. So yeah. Then there's the whole agent framework. Agents were a big deal. Like I said, 2 months ago, agents were a big deal. And then Meta, I'll be back. Right, so then Meta's role is just open sourcing all that stuff, and it's like Llama Stack is so underrated. No one cares about Llama Stack right now because it's for nerds, it's for developers. MSNBC will never say the words Llama Stack, but what Llama Stack essentially did was, I keep crediting Mark Zuckerberg, but it's just kind of tongue-in-cheek. But, Marky Mark took all of the framework, all of the libraries and the dependencies and the tools that you would use to make a program out of these LLMs in Python or something, right? To actually make them do something more interesting than just talking to a chatbot using the API. The Zuck takes that and makes it and tells his company, right? His people that he's paying like $200,000+ to, he says, hey, make this for the people. It's the people's stack. And so now we have Llama Stack, which is like, you don't have to go on GitHub or forums or Google and dig and try to find like how to build an agent framework with LLMs. You just use the Llama Stack. You use the one that that Meta, the giant company, has built, which you trust is efficient, secure, and functions and doesn't break, and is constantly updated. So, and all the answers to your problems are in the Git, right? It's in Meta's Hugging Face of their GitHub for it. So I think that's huge and underrated is Llama Stack, and so it's just going to keep putting more and more developer tools in the hands of normal people, and so we're going to get stronger and stronger tools. We're going to get stronger and stronger developer frameworks for them, right? And the LLMs themselves can teach you how to be a developer. It's kind of like if you do the math, it's an all boats rise kind of thing. That's what, some people like Ray Kurzweil are talking about when they say that, the species as a whole is going to grow in intelligence, right? It's an intelligence boom. It's not just an artificial intelligence revolution. It's an intelligence boom for the species because we use the tools and the robots as a tertiary level layer of our intelligence. So it's like a power up and a boost and something that's just always there. Which brings me back to something I mentioned in a previous video, which is that we're going to stop talking about kids using ChatGPT to write their papers. We're going to stop talking about that. We're going to stop thinking about things in that way. We're going to stop thinking about using LLMs to cheat in school because it's going to be, I don't know exactly how it's going to break down. I keep trying to walk through this in my head, but it's going to be a tertiary layer of intelligence that all the species has. And again, I'm very thankful for the way that it's gone so far, and I'm very thankful for Meta and Mark Zuckerberg, which I never thought I'd say. Ask anyone around me, my friends and family, I would never say that, but I'm thankful for them because it could go a much worse way. There could be no ChatGPT, right? There could be no public-facing interface. There could be no open source Llama. There could just be scientists working on it behind the scenes, and then one person utilizing all that power to take your pick, right? Like make so much, accumulate so much wealth that they're essentially demigods or become actual demigods, right? Because they made some sort of AGI or ASI behind the scenes without ever telling anyone. So, long story short, grateful that things are panning out the way that they are. And that's that's the general news. And then the whole reason I wanted to make this video in the first place was about this idea that right now, from what I've read and what I'm sort of my bias tells me, is that Meta's still focused on the metaverse and like open sourcing models and whatever. So they're saints, but whatever. I don't know about Meta, but Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, we've seen these sneak peeks of the video generation, of lip syncing, of stuff like NotebookLM. NotebookLM still says experimental on it, and OpenAI's O1 model still says preview on it. And I think the reason for that is because, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there's a U.S. election. It's going to happen in, I don't know, the next 2 weeks. Today's the 16th. November 4th, November 8th is the official date. So the companies have straight up said themselves, like, we're not going to release like some new model with advanced reasoning, and we're not going to release Sora. We're not going to release these video generation models because it would cause such chaos and obviously misinformation campaigns and confusion and lies and non-truth in this election that's happening right now. And then you might think like, okay, well, what about the next election? Like what? But I'm not thinking about the next election right now because that's 4 years away, and if 4 years in computer science or 4 years in artificial intelligence now, because computer science is a dead art. Yeah, 4 years is an eternity, right? If you look at the Moore's law or our double exponential that Kurzweil is convinced of as far as machine capability, 4 years is an eternity. And so I'm not thinking about the next election, but what I am thinking about is this election, once it concludes, if it ever does, assuming that both sides agree, okay, this person won and it's over, who knows what's going to happen with that. That's a totally different sociological problem. I'm not even talking about that right now, but if you think after this ends, there's got to be, it seems like O1, the complete model by OpenAI, may be released. Sora may just be released to the public for either free or for $20 a month. Who knows what it's going to be? Maybe it's $100 a month. Regardless, I get this feeling that there's sort of like a big backlog that's, there may even be talks behind closed doors that, the government is telling OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, don't, you cannot release this stuff or, it's going to be bad for the civilization. So maybe after the election is over, we start to see, like, I'm almost picturing like there's the exponential curve and then there's like this blurry gap. There's a discontinuity in the graph where nothing's happening right now, even though a lot of people will say there is a lot happening. But that's the point, is even though it seems like there's a lot happening, it seems like the exponential curve is still consistently going. I get this gut feeling that there's a big pause right now because of the US elections, and it's kind of ominous slash exciting slash anxiety inducing. What's gonna come after all the results are in and we did the inauguration, blah blah blah, blank is the president of the United States. Whew. The democracy is no longer being threatened. Vote for whoever you want. I'm not saying. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, it's 4 more years until a re-election that matters. I mean, it's two years until we vote on like House seats and stuff. But obviously, no one cares about that, which is unfortunate. But the companies might think, well, we have 4 years. Let's drop it. Boom, and then they drop the base, and we see power that we have never seen, which, again, I've seen results and outputs from these tools, from these machines, that blow my mind. And I watch this stuff every day. And like the metaphor I used before is like you have your little cousin that, if you live near them, they grow up next to you. And before you know it, they're 5 feet tall, and you just don't even. You're like, yeah, they're 5 feet. When were they 2 feet? I don't know. I don't remember. But if you live in another state and you don't see them for years, you come and see them in person. You're like, oh my God, there's no way they're that tall, right? I feel like I have that. I have the former phenomenon happening where I'm looking at this stuff every day and waiting. So I get a little trickle, a little breadcrumb every day. That's like, oh, that's a new thing. That's awesome. That's a new tool. That's good. But when you start to just see more and more ads where they're like, oh, this is an AI, our company is AI based, and all we do is work with AI tools, and allowing your business to move forward into the future and be AI capable, blah blah blah. And then MSNBC is saying, look at NotebookLM, it's so powerful, right? And then you hear every now and then a radio talk show host be like, this AI thing is happening, blah blah blah. I'd say we're somewhere near the knee. If you know anything about an exponential curve, there's like sort of this ambiguous knee in the curve where it goes from near linear to actually noticeably exponential, right? It's always exponential. At this knee is where it's like, that's exponential. I think we're just about at the kneecap right now. And that's crazy to say out loud, because it's like the advancement I see, the tools I see, the models that get released every 6 months or so, or the new tools or the new like GUIs, the new interfaces with these models. It seems nonstop, and to me the power does seem exponential. But after the election, am I going to be caught off guard and say, oh, that wasn't even exponential, that was the near linear part? You know, I think we're in the knee right now. Is the post-election going to be that truly exponential feeling part of the AI revolution? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'm Dragon / Mizuyoshi / Jason Satham / Bodger the Inquisitor / Chris. Holler at me.